Welcome to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. Each week, we join Vivek Gupta as he brings insights on how to bring the divine into the daily. We're amidst our season, Stairway to Serenity, which focuses on the 100 steps for its infinity. It can feel like we're carrying the whole world on our shoulders sometimes. What's weighing us down, and how can we unburden ourselves? How can we let go of constant postponement, future expectations, and a feeling of being an exception, to really break free and be truly exceptional? In this episode, Vivekji gives us the frameworks we need to experience this freedom for ourselves.
Hari Om, and greetings from Niagara Falls. I want you to analyze your mind, your thoughts. What percentage of your thoughts are directed towards your individuality? What percentage are directed towards your family? What percentage towards your community? And what percentage towards your society? So out of 100%, this has to be divided over these 4 categories. To make sure you're clear about this, your individuality, you have an identical form and name. That's who you are. Your family, you have the same name. Community, you have the same form. Society, there are different forms and names. Share when you've completed your analysis. Individuality, family, community, society. Today's class will be very much about personality analysis. For the majority of us, as you look at these numbers, the majority of our thoughts are directed towards our family. Those with the same nama as us, correct? Same last name, typically. You all know purpose pulls performance. If your family is your purpose, what do you think your performance is going to be like in comparison to if your purpose is community? In comparison to if your purpose is society. Our rishis, our social scientists, they knew that most people would only live for their families, which is why for children, they expose them to the moksha pata at a young age. So that, at least visually, or in an audio sense, they come to be exposed to the idea that their purpose is not just individuality, family, community, society. It is, and these are the last 3 words in the moksha pata, Atma, Brahma, Moksha. For one to be thinking about every being. In our analysis, I didn't even include humanity or divinity because I feel those numbers would be too minuscule. It is only when we're exposed to a higher purpose, do we engage in self-development that can help societal development? A lot of our self-development is to have bigger muscles, is to have bigger families. But how does that help society? Whereas if I become less angry, less afraid, less desirous, that does help society. And in the language of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, then when one can engage in hita, caring for others. Headspace 55, vikshepa. In English, projection. In our class, I shared a lot of the projections we engage in towards articles, beings, and circumstances. But another projection we engage in is projecting that we are perfect. When one projects that they're perfect, they're always defensive. If you observe that in yourself or others, there's a projection of perfection there. And when someone identifies that imperfection, they become defensive. When one projects perfection, so they become defensive, there cannot be development. Those are antonyms. Being defensive and being development-oriented, those are opposites. How do we practice not projecting? Be slow. All that you do, slow down. Now, for many, that's a physical matter. Walking slower, talking slower. Being slow relates to being simple. And for all those who were in our young adults retreat and Vedanta and Bhagavata class, I shared a very practical way in regards to simple living. Be Shiva. What does Shiva stand for? And I'm only going to read it out. I am not going to elaborate. S, set your nature. Each of these is to be practiced serially. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. H, handle for evolution. I, invest in effort. V, value the deep. And A, absorb the shallow. By living simply, we start to reduce projection. Headspace 56. This is the source of vikshepa or projection. It is Maya. In English, illusion. When one studies Vedanta like we are, when a teaching is shared with us, we have to analyze this from 3 perspectives so that this teaching becomes clear. Those perspectives are Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Shruti means what is the perspective of the scripture? Yukti, what is the perspective of logic, rationale? And Anubhuti, what is the perspective of experience, what you are feeling? So now if we take Maya, we're hypothesizing Maya is illusion, let's put it through this filter. What does the scripture share about Maya? Very overtly, the word Maya means ma yaha. Yaha means that which is. And ma means not. So what does the scripture share about Maya or illusion? It is that which is not. So it's checked off. Maya is an illusion. In terms of yukti, rationale, logic, we feel there is infinity. If we feel there's infinity, then how can there be finitude? Logically, that doesn't make sense, correct? There's either infinity or finitude, but not both. And this is why teachers share that Maya is anirvachaniya. It is inexplicable. Because if you can explain it, it's real. But if you can't explain it, it's not real. And what is Anubhuti's perspective? What is our experience? We work very hard and very smart to try to be joyous. Yet even when all is as if perfect, we still don't feel joyous. Because what's perfect is that which is outside. Articles, beings, circumstances are perfectly aligned, but I still feel incomplete. Why? Because articles, beings, and circumstances, they're relative. They cannot create absolute joy. Making this more practical. Maya is also defined as an appearance. An appearance. And we feel this appearance very strongly in our own minds. When thoughts are flowing through your mind, particularly negative ones, treat them as an appearance. There's no need to give them extra reality. I was sharing some insights this week about bullying. That 1 in 5 high school students is bullied. And the primary way they're bullied is through rumors. Now, putting this bullying statistic into this idea of not having negative thoughts. Suppose one of you told a friend of yours who's not in this class, our teacher is mean because he makes us keep our camera on. And suppose you're saying that not even, you don't mean that in a serious way, but you say it. Now, what do you think that person's going to interpret? The people you know, does everyone take matters in the right context? Rarely, especially when matters are virtual, correct? So when you say that, even though you don't feel it, but you use that negative word, mean, jerk, etc., then what happens? That person takes it in the wrong context, obviously, and then a rumor is spread, correct? Now, who is the source of that bullying? You were. You started it. Agreed? This is not my therapy. This didn't happen. I'm quite cheerful right now, but I'm only trying to emphasize what we're supposed to do with Maya is first let go of the negative, then eventually, when we're strong enough, we have to let go of the positive too. Okay? We continue. Headspaces 57 to 60 are all connected. And I'm going to share many frameworks. Use these frameworks to analyze your personality, who you are. 57. guna. In English, temperament. Guna is temperament. The first insight we'll take from creation. How does guna relate to creation? Maya, which we just analyzed, expresses as gunas, which then expresses as srishti. We'll call that creation. Articles being circumstances. I'm sharing it again. Maya expresses as gunas. Gunas is temperament. Gunas is qualities. These qualities then get expressed into srishti, which is articles, beings, and circumstances. Every article has a certain quality. Every circumstance has a certain quality. You've heard this many times. In terms of time, when is the worst time for you to use your intellect? What time of the day is the worst to use your intellect? That's me presuming that you are using your intellect. Nighttime, and more specifically, 9 p.m. So those on the East Coast like myself, this is the worst time to have class. And this is the only time we can have so that we can accommodate more and more and more. But my point is, see how that quality then gets expressed or manifests in creation. Okay, that's from the macro. Let's go to us specifically. Our vasanas express as gunas, which expresses as karmas. Vasana, guna, karma. So when people ask me, what is your varna? What is your color? What is your personality? The print for this is my vasana. This gets expressed as qualities, and those qualities get expressed in my actions. Everyone's following. That's why in the Moksha Pata, first we analyzed Maya, then guna. Okay. Zooming in on this more. And please remember, these are all connected. I'm about to get into what these qualities are. I'm only analyzing this from a higher perspective right now. When you're interacting with someone who's moody, what are you supposed to do when you're interacting with someone who's moody? What are you supposed to do? Tell me. Listen, stay quiet, be vigilant. Do you actually do this? I feel when someone's moody, we exhibit more moodiness. I'll dominate your mood with my mood. And see, theoretically, you have this correct. We have to adapt to a temperament, correct? I gave an example of a person. Weather would be the same way. If it's cold, you have to adapt. This adaptation, specifically about us, will only come if we accept that I am like this. See, if I don't accept that I have weaknesses, I'm never going to change those weaknesses, correct? That acceptance leads to adaptation. But the point I'm really trying to make is you will only accept or get to know who you are if you're engaged in analyzing who you are, analyzing your qualities. Because if I instinctively ask you, you will instinctively respond by saying, you are sattvic. Correct? You're on your way to enlightenment. But now as I give details about these qualities, you analyze, then accept and adapt. Please do this for yourself. I am not sharing these frameworks for you to judge others. If you're using it for that, automatically I will tell you are not sattvic, okay? Just ignore everything I say about sattva. Headspace 58 is tamas. We're starting with this because it's very relatable, okay? Tamas in English is laziness. How do we know if we're lazy? Again, frameworks. A lazy personality is one who is engaged in low living and low thinking. Low living, low thinking. A lazy personality is one who does not work hard nor smart. They're not hardworking, they're not smart working. A lazy personality lives by no term. And what I mean by this is there's a short term, there's a long term. They live by no term. To them, time doesn't exist. They just do what they want when they want to do it. I think my children are tamasic. So no term. Those are some frameworks, and here's one more specific indication of tamas is they complain. Complaining tends to be associated with circumstances. Circumstances. It's too hot. It's too cold. How come time flows so fast? Those kinds of matters. And C, a lazy person will naturally complain about the circumstance because they're not thinking, they have no control over that circumstance, correct? There's a powerful statement about those who are tamasic or lazy. Pramadam vai mrityum. Pramadam vai mrityum. Pramada means carelessness. Vai means is equivalent to mrityum, death. Those who are lazy, careless, those who postpone, that is equivalent to death. Now, many people are startled by this. How does laziness equate to death? There's a death in regards to joy. They are not happy. And they're not using the opportunity to become happy. So that is the reference to death. And you can even take this literally in the sense that a lazy person will be less healthy, correct? A sleepy driver is more dangerous, correct? So you can take this literally. You can definitely take this in an implied sense. By show of hands, how many of you can relate to some of these tamasic characteristics? By show of hands. We're too lazy. What did you say? Next headspace, 59, rajas. Rajas in English, selfishness. Selfishness. I'm using the same framework. They're engaged in high living, low thinking. Do you remember tamasic? Low living, low thinking. A change in rajasic, high living, low thinking. A selfish personality works hard, but doesn't work smart. They work hard, they do not work smart. They live by the short term. Tamasic, no term. Rajasic, short term. automatically you should analyze this as being instinctive. They are instinctive. And one more specific point. A lazy personality complains. That's directed towards circumstances. A selfish personality blames. And this blaming is not towards circumstances. They're more mature than that. Where is this blaming directed towards? Beings. It's not the weather's fault. It's my parents' fault. Blames. It's like that which is abstract. They cannot hook onto that. So now they're hooking onto that, which is right in front of them. Another way to analyze those who are selfish. A selfish personality, they want to be happy. See, a lazy personality, it's even hard to say that they want to be happy. We know they need to be happy, but do they want to be happy? With a selfish personality, they want to be happy and they think they can create happiness. So what do? They become results oriented. I'm going to create happiness. This is going to come by my actions. There is going to be results. And their investment is not in the action, but their investment is in the result. Their investment is not in effort. It is in excellence. That's why I told you they work hard, but they don't work smart. Those who are living to create happiness, they're results-oriented, they're investing in excellence, they naturally become vicious. Their personalities are filled with vices. The example that Pujya Swami Tejomayananda shares often, if you take an academic setting, and suppose the purpose of an academic setting is to do well on an exam. That's the purpose, okay? Then what should one do? Cheat. Steal the exam. See how it's not about learning, which is effort-oriented. It's only about the result. It's only about excellence. Yes? I feel a lot of our society is based on this idea of create, result, excellence, where we become highly comparison-oriented, highly competitive. By a show of hands, how many of you can relate to Rajas? Shall I even entertain sattva, or we should just skip this space? Not applicable. Just go on to the next space. The 60th headspace is sattva. Sattva in English, harmony. Harmony. They're engaged in low living, high thinking. Or maybe a better word would be simple living, high thinking. You see that difference between them and those who are Rajasic? Those who are Rajasic are all about lifestyle, but no vision. Those who are Sattvic are all about vision, and their lifestyle matches that. So low living, high thinking. A harmonious personality is one who is hardworking and smart working. They're hardworking and they're smart working. They know that they are not the doer, they are simply an instrument. That's the smartness. They don't operate in the short term, they operate in the long term. Which means they're not instinctive, they're intentional. I can't remember what class it was, but I had shared with everyone that you should live your life not based on a year, but based on a decade. Everything you do should be based on a decade. Then what we will do will be much more investment oriented. Now, even sattva is a guna. A guna means it's a rope. There's still a limit there. The lazy personality complains about circumstances. The selfish personality blames beings. The harmonious personality, what did they do? Annotate. Annotate. So complaining, blaming, annotating, which means they feel that they are an exception. They're an exception. This is like a sattvic ego. That, look at how much I'm evolving. See how that the implementation is right. It's good to evolve, obviously, but one doesn't have to feel that they're an exception in doing so. I love God more than you. It's possible that one can feel this. Those who are harmonious, they are investing not in IQ, not even in EQ, but they're investing in SQ. Their spiritual quotient, they're living by an ideal which makes them dharmic. They are the most dependable, the most responsible. There's harmony inside of them, so they're able to be more, do more. One will know that they're following SQ and Dharma, and I've shared this reference many times. Udvijate means annoy. Udvijate means annoy. Na udvijate means not annoy. They are not annoyed by any context. And they do not annoy any context. This will come in Bhagavad Gita's chapter 12, where Bhagavan Krishna says, Na udvijate lokat. The one who is harmonious, is following their responsibilities, they're not annoyed by any context. It doesn't matter what's happening outside, there is harmony inside. And because of that, they are less annoying. Are you annoyed by those who are responsible? If you are, it's because you are irresponsible. Obviously, correct? For those who are responsible, they're annoyed by those who are irresponsible. Yes. My final thought before we shift to our discussion. Let me check in with all of you. How many of you can relate to sattva, to harmony? I see less hands. How come? We've never analyzed our personalities like this. Yes. But now you have to accept and then adapt. Now here's the adaptation part. Guna means temperament. Guna means qualities. Guna means rope. And tamas is the heaviest rope. Imagine this rope is made out of steel. Rajas is a lighter rope. Imagine it's made out of hemp. And sattva is the lightest rope. Imagine it's made out of string. Each of them is a rope, but with each of these qualities, the rope is becoming lighter and lighter and lighter until you're able to break free from these ropes, where one becomes limitless. when I was studying in the ashram, one of my batchmates, he had a tough time waking up when the bell rang, which is 4 a.m. And so near the end of the course, I happened to be in his room and I saw this bucket of water. And I asked him, why is this bucket of water here? Because we have 3 shower stalls where there's buckets there. Why do you have this bucket here? And he shared with me in a very accepting way of who he is, that even after 2 years, I find it very hard to wake up at 4 o'clock. So I'm waiting. What does this bucket have to do with anything? So at 4 o'clock, when he hears that bell, he rolls over and puts his head in that water. And then he gets up and he goes to the shower stall to get ready. And as he's sharing this, I'm like, this is amazing. This is exactly what is taught in Kathopanishad, which Swami Vivekananda often quotes. Uttishtata, jagrata, prapya varan nibodhata. In English, that means arise, awake, and know your goal. Now see how this plays into the gunas. Our default is tamas, sleepiness. So what should we do? Uttishtata, get up first, then wake up. Many of you, when I teach contemplation starting next week, what are you going to do? Roll out of your bed and then sit like this. Correct? The Uttishtata didn't happen, which means Jagrata is not going to happen either, which means Dhyana is not going to happen. Get up, then wake up, and then know who you are.
If you enjoyed what you heard or want to learn more, share this episode with a friend or find us online at facebook.com/cmniagara. For those on the journey of self-development, Chinmaya Mission Niagara provides a community forum for seekers to listen, reflect, and contemplate. This podcast is produced by the Young Adults of Chinmaya Mission, an international nonprofit working to transform individuals through the knowledge of Vedanta. Until next time, inspire, love, be.